Back with more sex education. This is episode 1 of season 2. Very excited to start this second season. I've heard wonderful things about season 2 in particular when I've heard people kind of talk about the show. And I'm so excited to see where things go next, and to, be on the latest airing season is always fun, knowing that we're going to get closer and closer to actually catching up, be able to hopefully watch season 3 live whenever that comes out. Don't know if that's actually going to be the case, but I'll give it a good go. So yes, very, very excited to see all these characters again, see where all the different plot lines are going to carry on with the whole Maeve, Otis, Ola kind of triangle thing that's being set up, everything with Eric and Adam, which was a lot, and what's going to happen there. Jean and Jakob are kind of a bit of a thing. How's that going to get in the way with Otis and Ola? Lots to kind of dive right back into, and I'm very, very hyped because I adored the first season of this show. It was so fantastic, and I imagine they're going to continue delivering the goods with season 2. But I have heard wonderful stuff, and this show really caught my attention initially in terms of like doing reactions and stuff when season 2 kind of first came out, and people were like really excited about it. So I kind of knew then when I saw those my friends kind of saying how great it was, that I was like, okay, I'm going to react to this one day. And here we are, finally on season 2. I know a few people were excited for me to get to this season. It's happened, guys. And yes, very excited to see how they're going to kick things off. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Otis, you're better than this. No, please, God, no. No, not in the car. Not in the car, please.
There is a time and a place for such a private activity. Isn't it wonderful? Have you been talking so much more openly and honestly lately?
Yeah, he clearly loves it.
Coast is clear.
Oh wow.
I thought you said it was normal.
Wow. That is like ultimate best friend energy though, isn't it?
Enjoy the poverty shuttle.
Crash your car, bitch.
Maybe you don't mention the whole clinic thing, Ola. I think it's weird. So what's weird?
Oh, of course she doesn't know about it, yeah.
Oh, you guys are super cute, but stop now.
Okay, this is a bit too real. What the fuck is this?
It's not the same without me. And why? Her job is so easy. It's literally just booking appointments and taking money. I'll do it to you. I got a B+ in business studies last year.
Where is Maeve?
That's irrelevant.
Show her, you cowards.
What are we doing to neutralise this?
Well,
He'd probably have all students shot.
I'm looking for my chaperone.
Hello,
Oh wow.
I'm Lily.
Please close the curtains and make me deaf. Agreed. She didn't get kicked out of school, did she?
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh.
It's me, Mum. Yes.
Ah, I thought it was her mum.
What do you want? Did you tell Clara that you enjoyed the dog's company more than her?
yes.
Can you elaborate?
The dog is really quiet.
Oh my god.
You guys are sexually active, right?
Yeah.
With multiple partners.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
You're just pinning it on her for some reason.
You to make a list. Would you prefer to him?
I don't know, but I think I just had a very small orgasm.
Really? Oh! Stray dog! It's okay.
Oh, really?
I believe you, but here we are. It's clear.
Not quite Holmes and Watson, are they?
Some things don't change.
I think we find quite a lot of strange around.
I do that.
Don't talk me a mouthful.
Do you know what?
You're in the position to judge.
Are you sure there's no idea?
Oh no, no. They're gonna come back for their free period. No! Use a bed at least. Oh, okay. Oh dear.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Please just come back.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I love this show.
I was just starting to feel like a normal teenager, and now you can make me feel like a freak again.
Otis.
You're not supposed to smoke in front of children.
Well, I'm bound to fuck her up anyway. What's a bit of second-hand smoke?
That's the right attitude.
What's Jimbo know about me and Sean? She doesn't.
Oh.
I believe what we're dealing with here is an outbreak of SDI hysteria rather than an outbreak of chlamydia.
That's
You
what
cannot
Otis was
catch
saying.
this disease through breathing. It is the misinformation about the disease that's hugely problematic. It comes shrouded in shame and misunderstanding.
Well, this is hitting home.
Precisely the 3 T's: trust, talking, and truth.
Oh god, I feel like they're gonna get her involved, aren't they? Uh-oh. Mum's fighting again.
Please just stop fighting.
Shut the fuck up. Oh man. Oh, she's getting rid of the pink.
It's not funny.
Who goes there?
You're gonna have to kill him.
You should wash your hands, you dirty pig.
I think I'd seen that going around online. Oh my god. So he couldn't swim.
Chlamydia.
Oh man, Jackson.
Wiley, you're
Whoa.
Okay, please hear me out.
She doesn't want to be like compared to her mum. She dyed the
But I
hair.
don't want to be like them.
Hey.
Miss you.
Oh, what's the plan here, Maeve?
Tell them that's not true. You're supposed to be my friends.
Well, they're terrible, awful friends.
Good afternoon, Mordell. It's your ex-resident cockbiter, Maeve speaking. Here to read some of your brilliant prize-winning essays.
Oh my god.
Start with Ruth Matthews.
So quickly, there's a fight.
I love how done she is.
I think the chairman would be very interested to know that your son won the essay prize by cheating and that you knew about it. Maeve will be re-enrolled at school and that's the end of it.
Yes. I love her. I hate you. Okay.
That guy!
What is that Capella kid?
Yeah, when the master's been sleeping with him for ages. He's always crying in the toilet because they're trying to keep it a secret.
Oh dear.
Because I know everything.
Oh! Oh no.
It's not shameful to have chlamydia, but it's wrong to lie about it.
It was wrong to lie about it.
We were flawless.
You should maybe tell your girlfriend about your wanking problem.
Yeah.
The truth will set you free.
I didn't ask to
The
be
3 T's.
I didn't ask to be therapist either, to be
Oh, wait, Jesus.
I was just wondering when Adam will be back.
He won't be.
Oh.
Do not worry, Eric. My son will no longer be making your life difficult.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
It's all new for both of us. We'll just figure it out together. Okay?
Oh, that's nice.
Stop kissing my daughter.
Stop shagging his mum.
Let's see your mom.
Oh, I got that. Oh, it's so sad he felt he needed to do that to get out of it.
She needs some help.
Well, I didn't ask for any, so no. Looks like we're neighbours.
Well, I can recommend some great people to help revamp the
Oh
curriculum.
boy.
Oh, you could do it.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
I mean, they were still terrible friends. I wouldn't have forgiven them. But
She was kind of a loner until she started running that sex clinic thing with Otis. And then they'd hang out all the time. Never did it again, now she's back.
I'm doing all right on my own. Talk to her.
I like that he doesn't feel left out anymore by it.
70.
60.
Deal.
Nice.
This is entirely about the money.
Yeah. It's good to be back in business.
I like how that kind of mirrors the first episode when he like agrees to do it. Yeah, it's that little smile. Hell yeah. Okay, I bloody adored this episode. Genuinely might be one of my favourites of the show. And that's just episode 1 of season 2. So we are starting off strong. My God, I just love being with these characters and kind of seeing what they get up to. And there were so many revelations in this one as well. You know, I was kind of thinking some of this stuff wouldn't kind of get revealed and everything until much later on in this season. So God knows what else they have planned. Because they've kickstarted some really interesting stuff, some very sad stuff at certain points. But, you know, the fact that Jean and Ola found out about, not Jean and Ola, Otis and Ola found out about Jean and Jakob being together, and that's kind of out in the open already. Ola's found out, you know, Maeve and Otis do the sex clinic thing, which is a big deal. All these kind of big reveals like that I wasn't expecting to get stuff like that in episode 1. I thought we would just be like, okay, so this is what's happening with all the characters, let's go into it, you know, ease us in gently. But my God, did they not. That opening sequence, my God, that bit in the car, I can't even tell you. I can't remember the last time I've laughed that hard. It's been probably years. Man, that was a much needed laugh. I could not get over that. I wasn't expecting the spray on the window. Let's just say that. Madness. What a crazy show this is. But I love that they don't shy away from doing stuff like that. Because at this point, you know, I think season 1 obviously came out, and people could kind of see in terms of like, oh, did we push the boundaries a bit with this or with this? But it seems to have obviously got a decent response from people. So like, okay, maybe we can push it and really go out there with like the sexcapades, shall we say? And they certainly did that with that opening sequence. And Otis just wanking the night away. I mean, good on you, buddy. It's an interesting kind of parallel and contrast, I guess, to where we found Otis at the very start of the show. And now it's almost like it was too much for him and he kind of wore himself out in a way. But it's not like after the last episode of last season, he's like, oh, my problems are all gone now. You know, I'm fine now. I'm normal. He still isn't like, obviously, ideal, as we saw that scene with Ola. And then it's certainly going to put him off when he then went downstairs and saw what his mum was doing. So yeah, it was cool to kind of catch up with him, see that he still kind of has that itch to help people and give all this advice. And, you know, as much as he was denying it, he is very good at what he does with the sex clinic. And once Maeve kind of shows up again, he's more than happy to offer her job back, start back up. So clearly he enjoys doing it. I'm intrigued to see how Ola's going to feel about that and what her response to that's going to be. I think she kind of thought it was so intimate between them, the fact that they haven't really had this kind of experience with stuff before. And Otis hasn't physically himself, but he is very aware of things, and he can, you know, he's been very open talking to people about this kind of thing. So I feel like Ola might feel like that intimate part of their relationship's kind of been snatched away, and it was never actually there because Otis has been doing all of this stuff and in a partnership with Maeve. But we'll see. Ola seems quite cool, so I feel like hopefully she'll be alright with it. But if she's not, I still kind of get it. But I liked how she was trying to comfort him near the end of the episode, kind of saying, you know, we're going through this together. It's a learning curve for both of us. So to see their relationship seemingly going strong is nice. I mean, obviously, my heart's still kind of for Otis and Maeve, and Maeve's little smile at the end of that episode there made me kind of think, you know, those feelings certainly haven't gone away from her side. I don't know about Otis, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I liked how the ending of this episode, it reminded me a lot of the ending of the very first episode of season 1 as well, with them kind of deciding to do this, going back into business together. So I liked that. It's like, here we go again kind of feel. But yeah, everything they did with Otis was fun and interesting, and that opening sequence would have stayed with me for a very long time. Absolutely hilarious. I like it whenever they focus on Otis's kind of sexual experiences and his sexual struggles. The way they shoot it, it's always like they're like doing close-ups of him. The moments where it's like they've kind of cut the set in half and they're like filming it from the side in that sense. They always play with like perspective when it comes to like Otis, which I think is a very interesting thing that they do with the character. So obviously he has a very untraditional life when it comes to sex, in terms of his own experiences and the fact that his mother's a sex therapist. So yeah, everything with that was cool. And to see Ola join in with the school. We did get a lot of like her attitude to exactly what's going on with like Jean and her father. Maybe that's something to explore later on down the line. But it was more so about her kind of settling in, hanging out with Otis, and there's going to be some issues for her to kind of work through, I guess, now she knows about the clinic. I liked her and Lily kind of going around, and Lily kind of being her guide to introducing her to all the different kind of cliques and groups of people, because that's a very interesting perspective to be introduced to people through Lily's eyes, because she's and we love her for it. She's a very unique individual, and I think she has a very interesting, different kind of view of people in the world and how it all works. So to be introduced to this new school through her lens, I think, would be quite the experience, and very different if, like, I don't know, if Otis was just simply the one showing Ola around, you know. I think it'd be a very different kind of learning curve, getting to know everyone. So I like that. Lily has a very unique view of the world. So that was a cool little touch to have her be the one to show Ola around the place. So that was good, and just to see Lily was fun, because I really like her. And according to the personality thing I did in that video over Christmas, she's the character I most like, so there you go. So there, that was good. We saw Amy only very briefly, but she's taken shit from her shitty ex-friends, but she's very strong and I love her, so that's fine. And who else should we talk about next? I mean, Owen. The Owen guy. They kind of focused on him a couple of occasions throughout the episode, so it's not like the biggest surprise that he was actually the one who started the whole chlamydia thing. But I liked the way the actor portrayed him and the way he was written and presented. He felt like a very real person. I like that he struggles with the fact he's kind of basically in Glee Club. And he kind of feels like, you know, someone's dirty secret, because he can't be open about any of his relationships because they're ashamed of him. So clearly he can do better, but he's also very flawed in the fact that he wasn't honest with people about his sexual experiences and the fact that he had an STD. And, you know, the idea of like truth and being honest with people was kind of a big deal in this episode. We had Jean talking about the 3 T's, for like educating people. And that's kind of similar advice to what he was giving, what Otis gave Owen at the end, being open and honest about things. And then Otis was that way with Ola, kind of saying, well, I'm wanking too much. And then Jean and Jakob being honest about their relationship to Otis and Ola. All stuff like that was really interesting. So I liked that kind of running theme of truth. We had the woman who was kind of inspecting the school and just seeing what an absolute shit show the place is. Like, man, what a time for her to visit. And now it seems like she's going to be back every month, she said, to visit. I really like it actually plays her. I've seen her in a few things, mainly Doctor Who. I know she's in The Haunting of Bly Manor, but I haven't seen that yet, and I will get around to that. Halloween will soon be here. But yeah, I really enjoyed her presence and her just taking no shit and being like, this place sucks. I'm going to be back every month, which hopefully means she'll be popping up throughout the season again. That'd be fun. And a good little arc, I guess, to give Adam's awful father. So yeah, that was an interesting extra kind of conflict to introduce into the episode, and another potentially long-running arc for the season. So I'll be intrigued to see where that goes. If it ultimately could lead to getting rid of that headmaster and someone else takes charge, I'd be all for that. Maybe that's where they're going with it, I'm not sure. So yeah, that was all very well and good, catching up with all the other teachers as well. I enjoyed the English teacher, that woman. He's obviously been very supportive of Maeve's work in the past, being like, this is how it is, Maeve's coming back to school, fuck you. I enjoyed that energy from her, so she's great. What else should we talk about? Well, I guess the Jean and Jakob thing. I really like them as a couple, and I do want them to kind of go the distance. But it's still a very odd situation that they're now in with Otis and Olive as well. I'm not quite sure long term how they're going to explore that and deal with that. But for now, they seem to be enjoying each other's company, which is good. Jean obviously wasn't in a big rush to tell people about her and Jakob, tell Otis. I can see why, because they'd only just properly made amends and everything, and they were talking openly about stuff, being honest with each other. And she didn't want to just throw in, oh, I'm actually still lying about this, sorry about it. And maybe she's still kind of nervous about the fact this is her first serious relationship in a little while, and she hasn't really been used to that. Otis was surprised, you know, he was like, oh, my mum doesn't date people. So I don't know if that's going to be something that maybe gets in the way. She's not going to be as open about sharing their relationship with people as Jakob is, so we'll have to see what happens. But I really like those two, so I'm glad that things are okay with them. And we had Eric. He was more so there to just laugh at Otis throughout this episode, but I loved what he brought to it. Just taking the piss out of him at every turn, as best friends do. When Otis got hit during that fight with the girls, and it was like the slow motion, no, hilarious. Some of like the way this episode was directed and presented was really funny, very kind of different and quirky that I really enjoyed. And just the whole idea of like the STD storyline running through it as well. It's a great way because, you know, it's a very serious issue to talk about, like practicing safe sex and everything. It's good that they can address that. But also if it's like this idea of like, oh, is it going to spread and all this misinformation, which is obviously very timely to some of the situations in the world right now, it can again be secretly informative to people in real life about, you know, exactly how you can contract like chlamydia and stuff. But also because it's like people were scared that it was going to spread around and everything, it's a good way of including a huge mass of characters in like an opening episode, because like this mass STD hysteria thing, so you can reintroduce all these characters we'd already met, even like the lesser ones that aren't around as much, introduce a few new ones. You know, we had that random guy that everyone seemed to fancy, so I imagine he's going to come back. Maeve had some new neighbours, so I'm guessing we're going to see a bit more of them. Joe and Isaac, I want to say. Just replaying that scene. Obviously it was only a brief thing, but they've introduced them, so I imagine they're going to be doing something, otherwise why introduce those characters? So yeah, while it's also affecting like the students and all this panic and everything, they can get the parents involved as well, which then leads into the Jean thing, and potentially going to be employed by the school to like do a sex education program, which is just going to make things even worse for Otis. So that's not going to be great. We'll see what happens with that. The book was probably bad enough, but is this going to be even worse? Jean actually having to be at school with him every day. You know, is she going to use him as examples for stuff? Is she like runs classes or stuff? I don't know. That might be a bit of a problem, but we'll see what happens with it. And if it means more screen time for Jean and her really getting involved in like big arcs like the ones that may take place at the school, I'm kind of here for it because Gillian Anderson. So yeah, that could be quite the thing to happen. I like that development a lot. I think it will give more focus to Jean, which is good. And yeah, Eric also asking about Adam, the fact that he's apparently not coming back, which I think is not going to happen, but very much, you know, Adam's still very much on Eric's mind after what happened with them in the last episode. So that will surely be something explored further on down the line. But that was kind of, they threw a lot at us in this first episode with like revelations and setting up new arcs and everything. So that kind of was more of the back burner one in terms of like Eric and Adam. I mean, we didn't even see Adam, so of course it's in the back burner. But I think that'll be like one to watch and be explored a bit later on. So I'm happy to wait for that. But regardless, Eric was a lot of fun in this episode, as he does tend to be. He brought a lot of chaotic energy to it. So that was all very well and good. And then seeing Maeve had to work like a day-to-day job. Obviously her brother was gone. He's just pissed off. And then she's kind of dealing with someone else who abandoned her, with her mum coming into it. I thought we'd meet her eventually. Wasn't expecting it, you know, episode 1 of a new season. But that's good. And Erin, her name was. So apparently, you know, she's kind of working on herself. She's with someone, but hasn't told them that she has 2 other kids. and just kind of like gave Maeve some money, and like she dropped it off and didn't even like stay to chat with her. So I think that kind of still speaks volumes about exactly where Erin's motives may still lie, and that, you know, he could have knocked on the door, had a bit of a chat with her, but then it would have been an awkward conversation for her to be like, well, you know, I still haven't told him yet, but here's some money. You know, probably make it a bit too obvious that it's a bribe, or trying to just keep her quiet, keep her happy for a bit. So exactly where that's going to go with Erin, I'm not sure, but I've seen the actress in a few things and I quite like her, and I liked her in this. I thought casting wise it was very good, and reveals a lot about Maeve's character as well, and the fact that she doesn't really want to be compared to her mum, because as soon as she had that encounter and saw her again, she like dyed her hair and made it brown, which I think really suits her. Actually, I really like her brown hair. But honestly, she could have neon green and orange hair in a patchwork pattern and she'd still look great. But yeah, seeing Maeve kind of work that job, and then realising she didn't have much to lose, kind of force her way back into the school, and just make the ballsy move of reading those essays out. I like that, kind of fighting back. And she is a valuable asset to the school, so I'm glad that she kind of was allowed to, well, hopefully allowed to probably be back in place, restart things with Otis in the clinic, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's cool that Maeve has a lot of stuff going on, not just like, oh, she likes Otis, that's her storyline. That's, I assume, one of the things that will still be explored this season. But she also has, you know, her focus on the academic side of things, and the fact she's really clever, fighting to get back into school. She has the thing going on with her mum as well, potentially her brother if they bring him back this season. I'm not sure if that's going to be the plan. But there's a lot more to her than just that. So I quite like that as well, because Maeve's awesome. So yeah, I liked everything they did with her. I was kind of sad when I thought, oh, she's just been kicked out of school, because that means she can't really interact with like a lot of the main characters. But clearly that was fixed throughout this episode, and they did it in quite a fun, cheeky way. So that was all very well and good. And then I guess the last thing I really need to talk about is Jackson. Man, I feel like this story is going to hurt me. I'm not prepared for it. I've already talked about how much I loved Jackson's story last season, and he easily became one of my favourite characters. Everything with his anxiety and everything was really relatable to me. Very important to me to see that kind of represented in such a nice way, and was such like a genuinely nice guy. And then this one, I thought maybe he was just going to have like a panic attack or something, like from the loud noise of that guy, you know, smashing the things. And then when he put his hands in, like, oh God, like imagine mustering up, you know, the will to want to do that, even if it was spontaneous. Like he so does not want the pressure on him to swim and do all these things, that he feels like he needs to hurt himself. That makes me so fucking sad. Hopefully not if, but when, you know, the very overburdened mother kind of finds out why he did that, she'll take the step back and realise, like, this isn't healthy for your son. He shouldn't be doing this, for fuck's sake, help him. But I'm scared that's not going to be the end of it, because he's just like, he's shrugging off in a minute, be like, Mum, I'm fine, it was just a stupid accident, when it clearly wasn't. So if he's going to keep trying to do that, to stop himself having to swim, oh, man. But you can kind of see that escalation, and things really kind of went crazy for him at the end of last season when he had that big fight. And obviously he kind of fell back on Maeve a lot in the past, and to kind of help him and support him through that. But now those two aren't together anymore. Maeve's still busy with lots of her own things now, so she may not be able to kind of still be that pillar of support for him. He's kind of on his own right now. So I think that's kind of escalated things, and obviously it's no one's fault that it's kind of led to that, except for obviously pressuring Mum, who's not quite getting it. But we'll see what happens with that. I'm very nervous about that, because I don't like seeing Jackson hurt himself. It's just, oh man. Again, it's a very important story to kind of tell, though, I think. As sad as it is that Jackson feels like he needs to do that, to just get out of swimming. It's like just saying, I don't want to do this, it's all about you. You know, it just wasn't registering with his mum. He even told her all that in like the prom episode. Was it a prom? Like a ball episode, the dance one. And it just didn't go in, it didn't register with her. It's like, well, aren't you selfish? It's not, I've been slaving away for this. He's kind of just had to suck it up again, which is not healthy. So yeah, that's quite the thing. And we'll see where they go with it. I'm very nervous about it, but I also think it's very important. And I think the actor's doing a fantastic job. Some really heavy stuff, you know. A lot of the storylines in the show and everything can be quite light-hearted, played for laughs, as I think they should in terms of like attitudes to sex and everything. It's good that they're making kind of a light-hearted thing of it, for the most part. They can be serious when they need to be, and they still get the messages across that they need to. But, you know, with a storyline like this, with like Jackson's anxiety and now potentially like self-harm, that's not something you should make a joke of. So I'm glad that they can balance things out by having Jackson's storyline be a lot more serious. But you can also have some funner scenes, some more light-hearted stuff. You know, the scene last season with him singing to Maeve. The one in this episode where Otis and Eric confronted him about him potentially having chlamydia. And he was like, "You want my results?" And Eric was like, "Not the best Watson in the world," to Otis's Sherlock. So they have a very good balance with that. But yeah, I think that's going to be a painful thing to see unfold this season with that. But quite the important story. So we'll see where they go with it. But overall, what an amazing like premiere episode for this season. My God, so impressive how much they crammed into it, and yet it still felt, you know, natural, and everyone I think got a decent amount of screen time to shine for the most part. And if they don't, they will in future episodes, I'm sure. There's a reintroduction to all the characters and some new challenges for Otis and Maeve and Jackson, everyone to kind of face. The idea of focusing on like the STD thing is a great way of bringing those other characters into it, and sets off a new story for Jean potentially as well to get more screen time. Yeah, all for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where all this is going to be taken throughout this season. But I'm so glad to have gotten into season 2, and if they keep this up, holy shit, this season's going to be incredible. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm really glad to be delving into the season finally. And yeah, what a start, and long may it continue. But until my next reaction, thanks for watching.